Universa from the Waffle Press podcast. Nick's here.
Hey guys.
Diego unfortunately could not make it this evening, but we have a awesome guest with us, Marco A. Diaz from Mayo Productions.
Hey.
Thanks for joining us. Cool to have a classmate from Cal State LA on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a great school, and I listen to the show, so it's pretty cool to be on it.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. First, on those shows, we usually break it down for the viewers just on who exactly you have as a special guest. Marco, what can you tell us about what you do in the industry and stuff?
Well, I'm a writer and a director, and I also freelance in post-production for a couple of shows. So I've worked on a couple things such as Amazon show called I Love Dick, Mr. Robot recently. The last season I was the post-production coordinator and freelance pretty much in independent film as well.
Nice.
Just for people who don't know, right? Like, what exactly does a post-production coordinator do? Like, what exactly is your
Right. A post-production coordinator pretty much works with the post-producer and the post-supervisor, and together they're the team that heads the group of editors and the sound department and pretty much everything. They help people organize the show from pretty much and everything that goes from post-production. After it's been shot, they help put it together, help put together the teams that will edit it, organize how the different episodes will be put together, the music, the special effects, and they bring everything together in order to make sure that the show is ready to air.
Nice, yeah. So you basically help put together everything.
Yeah. We organize budget, everything, all the hard work.
Yeah, all the hard work. Yeah, after the actors, everybody else go home.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so people like me can just like focus on editing.
Yeah. We work with people, and with editors, and I mean, we pretty much get super white. We never get to go out, see the sun, and we're working 12 hours a day, slaving away, just like Gene knows.
You know what? Exactly. I thought Gene was getting paler. So
that's how you know that he's an editor. He's
But yeah, that's really cool. And then you just you were just working on a documentary?
The documentary was the first thing, one of my first projects that I shot, Place for Lydia. So that premiered at Slamdance and won an award for Best Adventure Documentary, and it also screened on the Fusion Network, and that was my first adventure as a filmmaker, my first project that was mine.
Nice.
That's really cool. Can you tell us like how exactly that was? Putting together
we pretty much shot it. Through production, I am always meeting contacts, people, networking, and a couple of friends, some from Cal State LA, and I got together and decided that we wanted to do something with the resources we had. So we started talking. We had a camera. And then there was this contest, the Fusion Documentary Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much we're calling out to filmmakers that had a great story to tell in their certain amount of time, and they would give you 5 days to complete it. So we found a lady that she's a lady that works cleaning houses. She pretty much usually takes a 6-hour train ride to get to work. 3 hours on the way and 3 hours on the way back to where she goes. It's pretty hard. She gets up like at 3-4 in the morning, and she takes several trains to get to the areas where she goes to clean houses in an area that she probably will never be able to afford, but she does it for her family. And it was just a great story that inspired us. And so we got up, we followed her through the trains. We were shooting everything we could, asking her why she does what she does, and interviewing her at work, showing scenes of what it takes to do the hard work that she does. This woman does this, 3-hour ride through public transportation, then works for 8 hours and then heads 3 hours back, and that's her day. So that was what the documentary was about. Her name is Lydia, and the documentary is called A Place for Lydia.
Yeah, it seems like it's really important to tell that sort of story now in the political climate that we're in and the current events as well, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. It was a story that I'm sure many people are familiar with here in Los Angeles, people that are working hard, trying to get ahead, trying to give their children a better chance. And as a son of immigrants myself, I felt like it's a story that although we've seen it many times, hers was definitely one that resonated because of how arduous is her trip just to go to work. I mean, imagine 3 hours, how tired you are, and then you got to work 8 hours and then work back. It definitely made me think about how I complain sometimes when I have to drive to places that I definitely don't have to go to the train for 3 hours.
Yeah, here and stuff like that. I mean, it's a very important story.
Yeah.
Where can you find that documentary right now? You know?
Sorry, the documentary is now available through Vimeo, and I mean it screened on Fusion. You know, I'm pretty sure it might be on reruns, and so yeah, you can see it there. Maybe we can put a link somewhere.
We'll go and put a link for that. So if you guys want to go ahead and check it out, follow the link in the description, and that'll send you straight to if you want to see this awesome documentary. As it sounds like. I mean, I'm probably gonna go home and go watch it today and stuff like that. So go check that out, guys.
So yeah, Marco, just kind of changing gears here. You know, we're talking about stories, and it seems like the theme of the not controversy, but the issue with the Oscars was, it seems like a lot of stories that shouldn't maybe be told, or excuse me, should be told by a certain say like a person of color, about a person of color, seem to be an issue at the Oscars coming up. And that's our next topic. Going straight into it, the Oscars of 2019, a lot of controversy there. There was a host, there was no host. Things were going to get cut, then it wasn't cut. And just this seemed like a general, just a clusterfuck. What are your thoughts on that?
It was. Did you guys watch as well?
I did, yeah.
I watched the bits and pieces of it because at a certain point I just stopped caring.
A lot of people feel that way too. Yeah, I mean,
I feel like what really brought me to a lot of the other like Oscars was the host. It was all about, like, you know, how are they gonna like present certain things or anything like that. You know, in the past, you know, Neil Patrick Harris or a couple other people have done it, and you know they were very entertaining and they made the show entertaining. And this year, no host, and I was kind of like,
it's just a presentation.
Yeah, it's just a presentation. You know?
Let me ask you, would it have made a difference if the Academy had just overlooked Kevin Hart and had him as the host? I mean, would you have watched for him? Do you think it would have made it better?
You know what? The thing is that after the controversy, I still would have. Yeah, I probably would have tuned in for Kevin Hart just for his monologue, just to kind of, you know, see how he was making fun of like people in the industry, stuff like that. You know, yeah, I probably would have paid attention a little bit more. I don't know what about you, Gene?
To be honest, I wouldn't watch for Kevin Hart. I don't really care for him, and then I got very tired of his non-apologies, and it doesn't really seem like he learned anything from making those jokes and why it bothered people. So,
right. Yeah. I feel the same way. I feel like he really didn't learn anything. I mean, there was really no true apology coming from him. And I mean, it wasn't like he made a couple jokes that people were being overly sensitive about, you know, like talking about breaking a dollhouse on top of your son's head for playing with it is like, come on. I mean, like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's really like just low bar stuff. And
Yeah, I mean, I do have to agree. It is some low bar stuff, but I mean, if you look at the transcript and everything like that, when he first made the comment, he did apologize for it, and he did kind of go back and say like that was kind of uncalled for, and you know, I am sorry about it. So I can kind of see his frustration when this kind of came up again, and him kind of going like, I've already said sorry for it. I've already apologized for it. You know, if you're just gonna keep on beating me with it, the same topic over and over again. You know,
we're gonna beat it on him like he beat his son with the dollhouse.
I mean, I can kind of see his frustration though of like, I apologized. You know, I apologized 5 years for it when I first made the comment. You know, and I already kind of paid the price.
But in this day and age, I mean, sorry to interrupt. In this day and age, I mean, you should know better. He should know better. He should have a PR team. And I mean, if anything, let's look at the Academy. I mean, such a big production. So much goes into it. So many people, so many hours of organization, and nobody could go through his tweets or through his stuff to see if he had any skeletons in the closet. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I was just going to add, and the other thing that was frustrating too is they couldn't get anyone else. Like Kevin Hart was the hill they were going to die on. It's like, oh, people didn't like that. We're not going to look for any hosts. And I forgot who was at the beginning of the segment, one of the female presenters, and she was funny. I'm blanking on the name, but
Was it Tina Fey and Amy Poehler and
Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, they couldn't do it. Like no one could do it. It
they
was
were actually great. I thought they were pretty funny if you cut that bit. I thought even though they didn't have a host, they made a
Mhm.
pretty good intro.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like they couldn't have got. Yeah, it was weird that they couldn't have gotten anyone.
Well, I just thought it was interesting that they were pulling from a lot of different places. They got Amy Poehler and Tina Fey. They also got Trevor Noah.
Yeah,
They were pulling from like all over the place.
Maya Rudolph was the third one.
Yeah, Maya Rudolph. They were getting a lot of different things, different performances. I really enjoyed the Adam Lambert. What was it, Queen performance? That was pretty
The
cool.
big opening act, yeah. Some people were random though. I mean, for example, was it Serena Williams? I don't know if it was her or her sister. I can't.
I believe it was Serena Williams. Yeah.
Serena Williams. Yeah, I mean, what was she presenting and why was she there? She's an athlete, and I get that they're trying to get a younger demographic, but how did it help?
Yeah, that seems where there's no sort of through line between people. It's just like random guests, like The Simpsons, just having random people show up or something.
Honestly, at a certain point, I just figured they were going into the audience and going, "Hey, do you want to
go up there?
You want to come present?
You want to come present? You like
we got an open spot. Yeah,
we got an open spot.
We have snacks in the back room.
Hey, if you do well, maybe next year you'll come back. So, but I mean, besides that, I mean, what did you think of the winners?
Did we all like it? Was it? No?
Well,
I
was surprised by some of them. I mean, for example, first of all, when Peter Farrelly went up, I believe, for adapted screenplay, that guy was just talking and talking and talking. I mean, it seemed like the other guy. I was just looking at the guy on the right. He looked so worried, like, oh, I'm not going to get a chance to talk. And I was worried for him. I was like, hurry the F up, Peter. Get through your list. I mean, he had, I believe, a CVS receipt, with the people's names or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Peter Farrelly on the Golden Globes, like I think he tried to talk over the music and they just let him, but it's like, it wasn't like he's saying this incredible story about like his mom that like put him through film school or anything. He's just, he should condense his list. That was
it was just a whole bunch of people. And I mean, at this point, honestly, I really hate the speeches where like it's just a long list of 12 people that we don't even know. They're like thanking their dog sitter or someone. I understand that it's important to thank a couple people. You might throw in there the producer or God or whoever. But come on. Don't go 12 people long on us. You're naming, I mean, that's what movie credits are for,
I honestly, I'm really surprised that the Oscars haven't adopted the C-SPAN method, where they just have like a little running clock at the bottom of just like names.
Yeah.
Maybe they could submit the names prior, and they go, "These are the names I want to thank." So just like
look down on the list. But also, I know they have the press conference in the backstage, after they win, and they get to thank as many people as they want there.
Right.
Yeah, but I think what was it? I think sometimes it is a lot. More, it's a lot different.
Well, I was gonna say, like, if you're gonna say a long speech, make it like Spike Lee, whose speech I really love. That the themes he was talking about, it's like, of course you're not gonna play that out. Whereas, what did you think of? What did you guys think of Spike Lee's?
Spike Lee's speech.
That was amazing.
That was amazing, and I love the idea of him using a forum when he knew he had everyone's attention. And
I mean, I like the speech parts of it, but then at the same time, it felt like it was. I mean, look, you're getting an Oscar after, 33 years of career, correct?
Yeah.
I understand that you want to use this platform to further ideas and everything, but there's Twitter to do that every day. You should really use that platform to say something meaningful about your career, about how thankful you are, for the work you've done or something like that. And I guess he did that, but I just feel like what he said could have easily been said in a tweet or in an interview afterwards or something like that.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I really disagree, because the themes he was talking about had a lot to do with like Black Klansman as a movie, where the end of the film shows the montage of the current administration and how it's similar to the story they're telling, and it's kind of like nothing's changed. So I don't know. I really disagree. Where that was just, it was really on topic of the movie itself, and I guess because he's talking about his grandma who saved up.
Yeah, I like that part. I like the part about his grandma a lot. The way she used to be a plantation. I believe she used to. He said she used to be a slave, right?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
I don't have the script in front of me, But yeah, how she saved up and put him through school, everything. That was the sweet part. I mean, that's what I was expecting. But then when he goes into, I don't know, there was a political rant or something like that. I mean, it's at this point, I believe I just have political exhaustion. You know, that's why I don't watch. I try not to watch the news because every day it's the same thing over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And in my household, the Oscars are like, it's like the Super Bowl. Like we watch it even if they have a sucky host or anyone, because it's when we celebrate movies. Movies are a huge deal here. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well, I guess
I feel like it's the same thing as like somebody kneeling at a football football game, you know, making a statement at like the Super Bowl. It's because you know you have an audience. I have millions of people watching me right now. This is kind of
well. I was going to add. I think his intended recipient got the message because I think Trump tweeted at him like at 3 a.m. or something.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So
something
I guess
about like he should be
yeah, it was something stupid. I'm not going to repeat it.
Ashamed or something like that.
He's just jealous he didn't get an Oscar. I mean, he wants
well,
he wants everything no matter what.
Yeah, Oscar
he wants an award for nothing.
He's mad that he still hasn't gotten an Emmy.
That's I mean, I was going to say he gets an Oscar for like Home Alone 2, which totally kind of really dours that movie. Like I don't watching Home Alone.
Yeah, it was just so forced in there. I mean, he forced his way on that movie. Should hashtag me to him.
I'm not gonna lie. I really did want the season of The Apprentice where Arnold Schwarzenegger was there to really succeed, so that we can get an Emmy.
That would have been good. Yeah, if he gets an Emmy for the.
Yeah, if he would have gotten an Emmy instead of getting canceled, I think that would have been awesome.
Right. But just kind of, you know, I guess to each his own. But moving topics here, the actual winners. What did you guys think of that?
I was actually very surprised by Rami's win. You know, I mean, he totally deserved to win. It must have been challenging navigating his role through such a turbulent shoot in the movie. I mean, I feel like he did a great job for the obstacles he had during that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I really thought Christian Bale was gonna get it.
He played.
I was so surprised.
He played Satan himself.
Yeah, you know, what was it? I mean, it's really hard to play, you know, a bunch of penguins inside of a robot costume so well, like Christian Bale did. But I mean, I really don't. I mean, Robin Malloy did a really good job, and I do understand that he had to put up a lot of things with Bryan Singer and changing directors, and you know, a lot of issues on set and stuff like that. But I really do feel like Christian Bale gave a better performance.
Yeah, he gave a really nuanced performance where, you know, someone that would expect like the most despised like vice president in history that no one knows anything about. And I wouldn't say he really. I wouldn't say you understand the person more, but you understand his portrayal of that character, and you know, and the fact that, you know, again, he risked his health to.
Yeah, he did. Didn't he dislocate, I believe, some discs because of how much weight he gained?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. I mean, it's just crazy how
totally
what he does with his body. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really do. I mean, just his portrayal and the time, and you know, the idea of him trying to like get his mannerisms exactly the way that Dick Cheney's were.
Right, I agree. I also think he gave a great performance. Again, why I was so shocked. I mean, I thought they were going to call his name. I'm pretty sure he was getting ready to go up there, and
he was like, "Yep, this is mine."
Like, this is mine. What of that? I mean, Glenn Close. Wow, same thing. Holy crap!
Yeah.
I really thought this was going to be her year. I mean, 7 nominations, and she was dressed herself like an Oscar. You know, she had on a tunic that was like 40 pounds in gold. She was like, I'm pretty sure she had something really funny to say about that. Like, oh, we're matching or something, twinsies. I don't know.
I don't know, but I mean, there was a lot of like certain things. Like, I honestly don't think that Green Book should have won.
Yeah, it's not that great of a movie besides just all the discourse on it. Like, it's a very just unnuanced movie. It's, you know, if you look at like Moonlight, if you look at Moonlight, which won the year 2 years ago, last year's winner, The Shape of Water, those are such complex films with nuance to them.
Interesting movies.
And interesting movies. Like, there is
right.
There's nothing else like Moonlight. Like, I really can't name another movie before that had such representation of those characters, and
it was so different. And I mean, to this day, it's still something you can watch, and you can see why it won. You can still see it. It holds.
Yeah, and
I can't do that for Green Book. I really can't. Like, it's
No, as a good Mexican, I was rooting for Roma.
right.
I think
Roma,
the
yeah.
Academy, I think the Academy ultimately made a safe choice because they were definitely not looking to piss off the studios by giving Netflix such a coveted prize.
You know,
Yeah.
politics.
Yeah.
I mean, to be totally honest, I mean, I thought A Star Was Born was going to sweep on a lot of like
Right.
different categories. I really thought A Star Was Born. Was
It really lost momentum.
It really did, and I thought I was going to sweep over through a lot of things because I even feel some of the music was a little bit better than Bohemian
Wait,
Rhapsody.
did you watch A Star Is Born?
I did.
Hey man,
You like that?
I like it. Man. You don't like it.
I mean, it was the one movie that I'm like, oh my God, why were they nominated? I mean,
You know what, man? It was a good movie and it sold tickets.
I think the problem is they exhausted the word circuit by starting so early. I mean, they went around and it was just so in your face. And then Lady Gaga too, with her 1 in every 100 speech. I mean, she became a meme. You know, that speech she gave at every award, accepting every award.
And, you know, that's the unfortunate truth too, that the politics of a lot of these awards, and you know, they're not the end all be all of like movies and film discourse, but the you know, if you win, you win. They put a lot of films that don't get seen, they give it prominence, so that's great. But yeah, there is a certain politics to it. Like, you know, some people don't watch the screeners, or they just go with, you know, because it's like you hear, I don't know, we're both members of Film Independent, right?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, exactly. You hear stories of other members where they're like, "Oh, did you watch that?" I'm like, "Yes." I'm like, "No, I didn't watch that." It's like, "But you voted." Oh yeah, and it's like.
I voted for whoever. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking the animated films. You know, the members that are 70 plus are not going to sit there and watch Incredibles 2, so they're going to be like, "Come here, little Bobby. Which one of these movies do you like?" Or it's whichever one they hear the most about. So I mean, it's not really fair at all. Think about the short films. I mean, how many members really go to the screenings for the short live action film or the short documentary? I mean, not many, unfortunately. So that in itself must also be a politics game, you know, of kissing up, etc. I mean, I don't know. I haven't been through it, but I'm picturing that there's perhaps a House of Cards type of thing going behind, like, you vote for my movie. I can get you the votes for your movie.
I mean, it is politics. It very much is politics and everything else. I mean, I look at what was it? Look at Leonardo DiCaprio. Didn't win, you know, an Oscar until one of the
Revenant.
Until The Revenant.
Right.
So many different performances where it was like,
and it's like The Revenant where he's just screaming.
You know, like The Revenant was kind of like the movie where you were going like, really? That's the one that they were like, that's
the one, yeah. Like, I mean, and the Bears, like, where's my supporting actor award?
Yeah, not Django Unchained where he like literally cuts his hand and, you know, decides to spread blood all over his co-star's face.
Exactly.
Not that one or any of the other ones that Leonardo DiCaprio was in. I mean, so I mean, it is very much politics and everything else. I do think that. I think Black Klansman. I mean, that would have been a really interesting choice.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that Spike Lee, when it was announced, I believe in the end, walked out, and it was so well known. And I mean, I can't really blame him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was as frustrated as him. I made like a tweet where it's like Spike Lee's all of us today, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
in his speech, he said, "Choose love, not hate," and he's like, "F this, I'm out of here."
Yeah, I mean, even what Black Panther. I was actually really surprised to see Black Panther up on the even on the list. I mean, the fact that he even made it up on the list was impressive, and everything else. But there's a lot of movies I felt deserved it more than Green Book.
Yeah, exactly, and yeah,
any movie.
Any movie.
Any movie.
Yeah, exactly, and you know, Roma. I wish that would have won.
I wish Roma would have won. I think. I mean, listen, to be 100% honest, I didn't love the cinematography. It wasn't my favorite, and a lot of a couple of friends kept saying, you know, nothing really happened. But the beautiful thing about the movie is not that something happened; it's that it's this piece of someone's brain that came out. It's a moment in life, and it slows it down and it shows you. And then to some people like me who were born in Mexico, and I mean, even to a friend who wasn't born in Mexico, he was from Syria, told me this movie felt like what childhood or growing up felt like. It felt like it was somebody's childhood. We got to see it, and through that, I felt like I was reliving my childhood. That's what that movie did. That's why it was so beautiful, touched so many people.
Yeah, it's very slice of life, and is not, you know, what film is supposed to do. We're encapsulating all the time.
What did you think about it, Nick?
I loved it. I saw it on film. I hate to be snotty, but that was really great to
To see it on film, yeah.
Yeah, to see in the theater. It was just a Lemley by my house in Pasadena.
I saw it not in film, but I saw it in a theater, a digital projection.
Okay. Yeah, and it's it's certainly not the most technically brilliant of Alfonso Cuarón's films. You know, that's obviously Gravity, but it's such a personal movie, and he really tells such a incredible story with showing you his life. And even though it's told through not him, but his housekeeper, who was almost like a second mother to him. I got that impression. Yeah, that was just really.
She still is in his life to this day. So yeah, it's a big part of his life. Yeah,
I believe I thought I heard he took her to the premiere. Well, I would hope he would, but he took her to some of the.
Hey, we made a movie about your life, but you can't come.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Nick, what are your thoughts?
To be totally honest, I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it? Okay.
It's on my list.
Well, we'll make that available. I'll show him that Netflix.
I honestly did see it on Netflix.
Let's talk about this. We were talking about members not seeing movies but voting on them. What movies didn't you see?
From the list of like the best ones?
Yes.
Let me look at the list right now. Favorite and Roma.
Okay. What was the other one, sorry?
Which one? Favorite?
You said Roma and what else?
The Favorite.
Yeah, the Favorite.
The Favorite. Oh, The Favorite was really, really good. I mean, Olivia Coleman was amazing in it. You need to watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but, hey, there was what 8 choices.
I know there are so many choices too. I mean, I don't know if I remember right, but didn't they used to be 5 and they upped them to?
Yeah, where there can be up to 10, but sometimes they don't do 10.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, seriously, that's just crazy. But to be honest with you, I didn't watch Black Klansman.
Okay.
But the trailer looks amazing. It's something I want to see, and I also didn't see Green Book. But I mean, from the trailer, you can tell a lot about a movie from the trailer. You know.
It just seemed like it seemed like such a standard by the book.
It does. It's like, hey, you drive me around. Oh no, a pair of unlikelies are gonna. Make a friendship. I don't know. It almost looks like something Family Guy would mock.
The only reason in which I watched Green Book and also Black Klansman is because I was stuck on a plane from Florida, from LA to Florida and Florida to LA.
He's being honest.
So I'm being honest.
Okay.
I was stuck on a plane, and I was like, I don't know. I'm gonna check these movies out. And I liked Black Klansman.
Yeah, definitely. Just kind of run out a little time on this segment. Any other upsets that you guys were? I thought this person should win. Like, I really appreciated the actress from Roma, and she really gave a voice to the indigenous people of Mexico. And there wasn't a performance quite like hers. And even though I really did enjoy Olivia Coleman in The Favorite, some of the best gifts from that performance, I really think she should have won from Roma. And Bale, of course. Any for you guys?
Well, the thing is, she gave an amazing performance, but again, you have to realize that I'm guessing from the Academy's perspective. I'm not saying I speak for them, but what I'm thinking, the reasoning, is that this was her first role ever. Remember that he picked her out from random castings throughout all of Mexico, and I mean, if you think about it, there are actors like Glenn Close that have, 7 nominations, have such a long career, and then I mean, I see it being pretty hard for the peers of the Academy to actually give her the performance. They gave her the recognition that it's amazing. Your performance is so good that it's among the best. But to give her the award would have been pretty tough, I think, from that perspective.
Yeah. Any other upsets for you?
No, just Green Book winning.
I was actually really, I mean, I wasn't surprised, but I was actually really happy to see that, Black Panther took a lot of, like, the design.
Yeah, I was glad to see that.
It took a lot of, like, the design work, the music, different, it was taking up, like, a lot of, like, oh, yeah, you guys built an amazing world, and, like, just the design.
I really thought you lived in Wakanda.
Yeah, you felt like you lived in Wakanda. Wakanda was a real place.
So it was a pleasant one.
Yeah, it was a very pleasant surprise. I mean, I thought something else was going to get it or anything like that, but I'm very
right. Well, I guess as far as upsets go, I think The Favorite should have won for Best Cinematography.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was beautiful. And then, I mean, to know that I don't know if you know about this. Well, you haven't seen it, but they used only candle light. I mean, they only used light that would be available, period. And usually I would roll my eyes at that, like, oh, okay, trying to be, like trying to be special or something. But for this actual work, and I mean, it was beautiful. It really worked for the story they were telling, and I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And then
Roma's all in Spanish, isn't it?
It is
yeah,
all
Spanish and Mixtec, I believe,
Yeah.
native language as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And then Bohemian Rhapsody winning for editing was just crazy.
Jesus, yeah,
Come on, did you guys see that tweet post that had like the scene where the agent's talking to them and there's like so many cuts that
that's frustrating.
it's just crazy. I mean, what do you think as an editor?
Yeah, obviously he could have maybe had some bad footage, he could have had bad coverage, and he had to work around it. But you're given a movie where, regardless of that, it's still the final product, his cuts.
It's probably because Bryan Singer was throwing shit at the moment. He had to cut out the fine objects.
Right. But it's 10 cuts for a guy to sit down and you give that best editing. It's like you have like no perspective, no knowledge of editing if that's the movie that wins best editing. So yeah, that really frustrated me.
I mean,
speaking freely.
Once again, I think I should have went to Vice.
Yeah.
I mean, I really love the way that Vice was put together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of Adam McKay's has such like manic editing to it.
Yeah,
all of his movies.
But it's like, but it's so manic, but it's like, but it makes sense. It's this weird genius to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it takes great skill to be able to do that, to be able to make something seem chaotic, but at the same time follow a pattern where you're able to follow it, and like you said, it makes sense even though it's all over the place.
Exactly.
Yeah. And, that's kind of one reason why when I heard that Bohemian Rhapsody won it, I was like,
yeah.
What? Do you not watch all the movies?
Yeah. Well, A Star Is Born was nominated for acting, so
whoa.
I'm still gonna reel against that.
On that note, I guess we're changing top.
We're gonna change topics.
Yeah, so
he's not invited ever again.
You know what, man? You should watch A Star Is Born. I'm just saying, watch it.
I watched it. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Star Is Born.
I watched it.
A Star Is Born stand, but
yeah,
we are running out of time on that.
The remake is
yeah. I hope next year is better. Hopefully, more of the old white voters in the academy just die off or something, or just
wish people dead.
I don't know, forfeit their membership.
I think it should change. I mean, there are so many people that were nominated that the younger members, especially, there should be a lot of new blood that will definitely change the way movies are voted for. And I mean, a lot of the members are pretty old, like you're saying. So
yeah, no, but I honestly, I do feel like membership should be like this thing of, if you're not working in the industry as of right now, or anything like that, like if you haven't worked in the past 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, that's crazy that they don't have that implemented.
Yeah,
they tried to do that, but a lot of members, I believe a couple years ago, they protested. They really weren't happy about that, and I mean, it's just crazy that you want to vote and remain, and yet you're not willing to watch the work and everything. You're not willing to do the work to make it better and make it what it is, recognition of the best work out there for the year.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying if they had something like that where it was like, okay, cool, you haven't been around in 5 to 10 years, start doing some work and then we can, put your name back in the thing. Just so that way, I feel like it's people that are on the outside voting for the inside.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work sometimes. It really doesn't, it's not as cohesive as you would like it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I guess that sums it up. Going off that note, and fortunately, we're out of time.
Like every Oscar.
Yeah, something like that. But this is what it is. Hopefully, next year's better.
Yeah.
But just going off next point of discussion: streaming services. What does everyone have here? What are your what's installed on your smart TVs, guys?
Go ahead, because I have a lot.
Okay. Well, I always have Netflix. I mean, I've had it since I was in college, and I used to get 2 DVDs, I believe, or 1 DVD at a time.
Wow.
And I mean, I've had the same account forever, and I hope my price hasn't gone up. But I have Netflix. I have Hulu to watch The Handmaid's Tale. A friend recommended it, and I'm trying to get through it. But as soon as I'm done with that, I'm cutting it off. And then every time Game of Thrones is on, I get the HBO app, and then as soon as it's over, I cut it off. I'm terrible, but I mean, Netflix is honestly the only application that is truly always there. And then I do use a PlayStation Vue for the news and for regular thing. I'm a cord cutter because
Yeah, it's too much for cable services.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I have. Well, this is we share a household, so this is our collective streaming services. But we have on our smart TV Netflix, of course, Amazon Prime, and I hate its interface, but it has very good selections on older films and just unexpected things that I wouldn't think. Hulu, barely use. Through this guy, I'm getting the DC Universe app. And,
there's a DC Universe app.
Of course, I have it.
we'll talk about the DC Universe, but that's a whole other thing. But last one is probably my favorite, Shudder, for streaming service. Through AMC, I believe. AMC Networks sponsors it. And yeah, I love that. There's a lot of movies I would never find, or like I'd have to like rent or find it in an obscure place. Movies like Black Sabbath, just random horror films. So Shudder all the way. Nick?
I need to pull it up because I have too many.
There's too many.
I have far too many. I have Hulu, Netflix. Let me see, VRV, DC Universe, and Prime Video. And you know what the thing is that you guys both say that you don't use Hulu as much. I use Hulu all the time.
Really?
What do you watch on Hulu?
Yeah.
You know what the thing is that I pay for Hulu Live so that way Hulu has all of like the live TV and it does like its recording.
Oh, so that's like your PlayStation Vue. That's your main.
It's my main place to go. Not only that, but also I pay a little bit extra so that way it also has Stars, HBO, and Showtime. It comes like a little package now. So
yeah, they do streaming. They do streaming.
Yeah, we're now all of them.
Sorry, I forgot to tell you. I also have Canopy. I don't know if you guys know about this one, but Canopy is it's a streaming program that has pretty much like the entire Criterion collection plus newer movies like Moonlight, a couple winners, Oliver and Apurna's library, I believe, and you pretty much get to access it for free if you have a LA County library card.
Oh, actually, yeah.
I paid $5 to say this.
Yeah.
Show sponsors. But yeah, you get to access all these great movies, and I mean, I believe you get it's 10 credits per month, so you get to watch 10 full movies per month, and then it resets every month. And I mean, it has a great library, a lot of great movies that Netflix might not have, other places might not, and it's newer movies. You know, a lot of George A. Romero's collection, Criterion, et cetera, et cetera.
That's pretty cool because I mean I was gonna say I have Hulu and I also have VRV, which I know Gene didn't know what VRV was, and it's a streaming service for anime that's made by Crunchyroll, but they've kind of boxed it all together so that way it has all of the anime services where it's Funimation, Crunchyroll, everything else, and then it also has different stuff like for movies. So it also has Shudder, it also has like Nick Play. It has GameSpot. It has like all these like different things. So that way it's kind of like a nerd's paradise of like of a streaming service.
Yeah. How long do you think it'll stay being what it is before, you know, different shows start pulling out the way Netflix experienced, Disney pulling out, and Marvel, etc.?
You know what the thing is that I really do. I don't know for VRV because for VRV I like the idea that it is a combination of all of these things, and I don't really know how their deal works because right now I pay $10 and I get like 5 services for $10. So I'm really fine with that. But if they were to start pulling out like Shudder or anything like that, I do feel like Shudder wasn't getting as popular as people thought it was going to be.
Right.
It is a horror.
It's very niche audience.
It's a very niche audience, and I think it's very nice. It's nice to have Shudder put in as kind of like an accent. You know, it's like, oh yeah, and also you get Shudder and stuff like that because it's a really nice streaming service.
Yeah, the interface isn't.
It's not the best.
It's not the best. It could need some work, but it's not like Amazon Prime bad.
But that's why I like VRV because it basically just has their library and then it uses their interface. And VRV's interface is really nice.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, we know Shudder isn't that great. We just have their library, and it goes over. I mean, same thing with like the DC Universe. I mean, I use that all the time because I like to watch, you know, Batman Beyond. I like to watch Batman series, Titans, Doom Patrol.
He's been enjoying the DC Universe app. To answer your question,
I really have been enjoying that DC Universe app. I've been enjoying it.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, I'm really big on DC and stuff like that. So I mean that works, but also I do like it. I mean, I really like the idea of for $10 I can get comic books the animated series, all their movies, and you know, anything that comes out.
Don't you wish though that they were all in one place the way it used to be when Netflix was first the big streaming giant for a while?
Yeah, I guess.
I do
I miss
wish
the simpler days.
I do wish that was it, but also I do kind of like I do like the idea of, okay, we're gonna have some competitors.
Yeah.
Because if Netflix was still the only place to go to and everything like that, I feel like they would just be ranking up the prices.
Mhm.
Well, they have been. Didn't they just have another price hike recently?
Yeah, they just upped the price. Now,
And I mean, see, the sad thing is, no matter how much they raise it, like I'm not canceling. Most people are not. Do you really want to go back to?
you know what? That's
People are not being able to. Yeah.
I don't use Netflix all that much. I really don't. Like I think I watch Netflix mostly when TV shows end. And, you know, it's not on Hulu anymore or anything like that. And Netflix just gets the entire series, and then you can just watch the whole.
So you don't watch any of the Netflix original content?
I do watch the Netflix original content. I just watched Umbrella Academy.
Great.
It's
a great
awesome.
show. I haven't finished yet, but
it's an
I
awesome
haven't
show.
started, but I hear good things about it. Some other people are talking about it.
Russian.
What is it exactly about, the Umbrella Academy?
The Umbrella Academy is about it's based on a comic book. I believe it's Dark Horse, isn't it?
It's a Dark Horse.
Yes, it's a Dark Horse comic book, and it's all about there's 45 kids that are all born in the 80s, and they're all born at the same day by women that were not pregnant in the beginning of the day.
Oh, wow.
Don't necessarily explain how these women get pregnant, and it's kind of like an afterthought where you're like, okay, cool, whatever.
So we just ignore it. It's like, no big deal.
Yeah, it's very comic booky of like this shit happened, and then
suspension, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, and then this weird billionaire goes around trying to collect as many of them as he can. He ends up getting, out of 45, he ends up getting his hands on 7 of them. He adopts all of them and then turns them into a crime-fighting team.
It's like
yeah, except for the story takes place 30 years later, and they all hate each other.
So it's like about family,
like siblings, normal siblings.
Yeah, like exactly. It's all, they all have like daddy issues, and they're all
messed up.
They're all messed up, and like they have their own problems in their own lives. And the show is all.
Are they superheroes then? If they're fighting crime?
Yeah, they were superheroes, and they have their own like superhero names and stuff like that.
So then, is this Netflix answer to losing the Marvel shows in the DC universe?
Interesting.
That's a good idea. I mean, if that is, but because there's a lot of like interesting concepts of like time travel, alternate dimensions. You know, we're gonna.
Right. What's the? It's. I mean, I would recommend that for you to start watching.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, but to go off what you said, Marco, the Netflix Marvel deal. Let's talk about that, because that was such a
huge blow.
Huge blow. It was like a corporate like sleaze move where Netflix just canceled all their shows. They have a clause in their contract where if Marvel wants to use us on District Streaming Plus, they have to wait 3 years. The time that it would take to reunite those crews, put another team together, really was a low blow to Marvel. I mean, you know, they're owned by Disney, but you know, to the fans of these streaming services, we're seeing like a lot of competition, a lot of like streaming wars, if you will, and that's really interesting to me. What do you guys think of that?
Well, to be honest, I really don't watch either superhero shows or superhero movies. I have to be dragged to watch something. It's just really not my thing at all. Mm-hmm. So I don't even know that something's being canceled. It doesn't really affect me for some weird reason. At the same time, I mean, I watch a lot of foreign films. You know, I like to watch things in different languages. That's what I'm watching. I'm watching shows from other countries, from Spain, etc. So I don't really miss that. But I do have a lot of friends that watch them, and I mean, they're super ticked about it. Mm-hmm. As far as it goes, I think Disney's getting ready to launch their own application, right? Or, I mean, I don't know if they're going to do something like this. Yeah. So they're going to want to pretty much put everything there along with cartoons, and they're going to want to compete with Netflix, which is not. I don't think they're going to be as big as Netflix, but they're definitely going to have a market. All the parents that want to, you know, shut their kids up and have them watch cartoons, etc., and all the people that are loyal fans to all the Marvel shows and Marvel Universe are going to actually go to it. But I'm sure they're not going to cancel their Netflix account. So I think Netflix just figured out, you know, we have so much money that we can either replace the content or do something else, and we just don't need them.
Well, not only that, but also, I mean, if you think about it from a business standpoint, I mean, some of Netflix's original content isn't exactly the best. Some of it is kind of garbage. And but not only that, but also
Oh,
if we're going to be making a TV show and it's not going to be getting the viewership that we want, kind of like
right.
some of those Marvel shows. Not only that, but also we have to pay a licensing for these shows. Like they're not just giving us these titles or anything like that for free. We have to pay
Right.
for these. It's expensive to do it, and also our budget for anything else, and they still have to make them with special effects and everything else. You know what? Honestly, I think it was a business move, and they were like, these shows are too expensive, and you know what? We're not getting the viewership that we thought we were going to.
Right, because I mean, they're going to get people who are bored. I mean, they're not necessarily going to get as many eyes for the shows. They have a following, but perhaps not big enough to make a difference in the way they calculate the cost versus eyeballs they get.
Yeah.
And again, just like you said, there's not a lot of good stuff on Netflix, but they're playing the quantity game, not the quality.
Right.
Yeah, and but the thing is that then they come out with things like Russian Doll and Umbrella.
Then you're like
Umbrella Academy, and then you're like, oh, okay, this explains why.
There's nothing else to watch. Yeah, I'll watch that.
Yeah, but then it like totally rationalizes on why I keep my Netflix account, where it's like, oh yeah, these are amazing shows, I really want to watch them, or some of their documentaries on Netflix. Like I just recently watched on Netflix, Taken in Plain Sight.
Yeah.
I just watched
It was pretty great.
Yeah, it's a documentary of the dumbest parents in America. Yeah, it's great.
Okay, now I want to watch it. See, you're pitching their shows. That's the thing. I think the only thing about that ticked me off about Netflix is I used to love their rating system because I think it used to be fair. The way you used to give a movie a percentage, and now the thumbs up and thumbs down. Like it's the weirdest thing. I mean, I think they recommend Russian Dollhouse if you liked Roma or something like that, and it's just a randomest things, It's like, yeah, if you watch the black and white movie set in Mexico in the 19-somethings, you're definitely gonna like this.
Yeah, I think they're what was it, like the way that they suggest movies to you is a little bit weird.
Yeah, like that's the weirdest algorithm.
It's a really weird algorithm. I mean, sure, it pushes like the new stuff forward, anything that's new, because I've noticed that too. Of like I was watching like a horror film. And then it was like, oh, you liked this, you should go watch. And then it said like
the Kissing Booth.
Yeah, like the Kissing Booth, or like Joe Coy for like his comedy special. And I was like, how does that connect to the movie I just watched? I was watching a horror film. How does that work? But
that's true. Also, I think they're lacking in their comedy specials because I mean, the people they're bringing. I mean, my God, some of them are so bad, and I mean, you have to really dig through the rubble to find the really, really good ones.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
the Dave Chappelle one was pretty great.
Dave Chappelle one was pretty good. What was it? I know that the Dr. Kent.
All the John Mulaney ones have been great.
John Mulaney, I liked them. Yeah, they're not bad.
Me and my girlfriend like this stuff.
Yeah, but I do feel that their comedy and everything like that are kind of going to the wayside and stuff like that. So they're not as prevalent. I do know that HBO. I mean, Hulu and everything else, like they do have a spike, especially when HBO is and stuff like that. Especially HBO Go, they even like look at it and they're like, yeah, we get a huge uptick when like Game of Thrones starts or Ballers.
Yeah. The thing, Nick, with Netflix is that once in a while you get that rare, beautiful gem of a movie that you would otherwise have not fell across. I mean, for me, one of the ones I remember recently is Train to Busan.
Oh, that's
a horror zombie film. I love that movie so much, and then I heard they're remaking it in English, so I'm like, oh my God, how are they going to mess it up? Hopefully not, but it was just such a great movie that after that I started checking out more Korean, Asian horror films, and I realized, my God, they're really, really good at what they do. Same thing with Middle Eastern cinema. I've watched some great things from there in Italian as well. And that's the thing. Since I like foreign films and things from all over the country, Netflix is really good at providing that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true. I mean, what was it? I think Hulu doesn't have as big as a foreign film.
No.
They do have a large like classic movie library.
They have
their classic movie library is pretty big.
I would give that, sure.
Their classic movie library is pretty big. But the thing is that I do have to admit that, yes, Netflix really does work on trying to get a lot of foreign films or movies you would have never watched. Like, I know that was Netflix is the place where I saw Old Boy for the first time. It's also where I saw The Raid 2.
Mm-hmm. You have to give it to them for that exposure. How many they have for the movie.
I mean, the department that's buying foreign films is definitely doing a great job. Unfortunately, now the new thing is they're bringing Australian reality TV.
Really?
There's like this show that I saw recommended the other day. It was like I forgot what it's called. Something preggy mommies or something, but it's like the Real Housewives type of show, but all the women are pregnant, and I'm like, are they gonna have to get pregnant every season, or what's the deal? Because that's what it's about, them being pregnant and rich.
That's what's going to have to happen in the show. Every season, we have to get them pregnant again.
And then their kids are going to become fighting superheroes. Yeah,
exactly.
Tie it all in. Tie it all in.
Tie it all together with the shows. But yeah, I mean, I really do like Netflix for that. I really like their anime too. They have a really interesting.
Yeah, they're going to bring on Neon Genesis.
They have Neon Genesis.
No, it's not on yet. It's supposed to come pretty soon.
Yeah, and then also they have like I really enjoyed Voltron.
Mm-hmm. Like where else would we see that? Like.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, but also I have to admit, without Netflix, you would not have Young Justice coming back for
no.
DC Universe.
What about apps like the channel apps that belong to a channel like Showtime and HBO Go? Like, do you guys have any of those, or do you get it around Game of Thrones time? Or
like I said, I go through Hulu because Hulu has like where instead of you paying the $10 to HBO, you pay an extra $2 and you get HBO.
Oh, that's pretty good. Bundle them up, yeah.
Yeah, and exactly. it bundles them all up. Not only that, but also when you search through their movies and the TV, it puts it all together. So that way now I'm not going through an app through 3 apps. Now all of them are put together, so now I can just kind of go, okay, cool. What are the movies that I have available to me?
Yeah, exactly. Like
stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. They, you have to give them credit, even though there are some qualms about Netflix that certainly need to be discussed. Certainly some critiques.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The good of it certainly outweighs the bad for right now.
Killed Blockbuster.
Killed Blockbuster.
How dare it?
But hey, do you guys remember Blockbuster where it was like $4.99 for like a movie, and they're like, if you don't give it back, like the next day,
$200.
It's like $100 overcharge fee.
Put your picture up on the thing. I was never a big Blockbuster fan. We had a fan. Sorry, we had something called Hollywood Video. I don't know if you guys ever saw it. I don't know if it was the knockoff Blockbuster type of thing, the affordable one, and then we had the corner video guy. I mean, man, I forgot his name, but that guy was the nicest, and he had the best recommendations. I miss that guy, the VHS guy. I mean. Yeah. VHS guy that owned the store and was there, and you never really knew what he was doing.
I know. I do kind of miss that from being in a Blockbuster because he was very much your recommended.
Yeah.
It was very much your recommended because he's somebody who's all he's been doing is watching all the movies. And like as soon as you turn in a movie, you're like, oh, I don't know, what should I get next? And he's like, well,
let me tell you.
Let me tell you about this movie.
Yeah. There's a movie about a train and zombies. You should really check it out.
You check it out, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you would have told me about Human Centipede, though. I would have went back to that.
Probably not.
Because
Netflix will. If you watch My Little Pony, that's the next recommendation from Netflix.
That's the next recommendation, Human Centipede.
So just winding down here, guys. Let's just briefly discuss the. We talked about how much of content there is out there. How do you guys see this kind of last 3 points, this going like maybe 5 years from now?
You know what? I do feel that at a certain point, some of these services are just going to die.
Right.
Or be absorbed.
You saw with Filmstruck, which unfortunately was shut down last year.
Yeah, and I mean, I
had
do,
the numbers.
I do feel that I feel like they're going to be absorbed. A lot of them are just going to be absorbed together. Where it's like, okay, instead of losing all of the content and everything like that, and losing the service and losing the customers, we're just going to connect it into another service or anything like that.
It's interesting because that was supposed to be what Netflix was the answer to. Netflix and streaming was supposed to be, okay, we hate cable, we hate paying for all these useless channels, there's too much crap we don't really watch and infomercials and all this stuff. So let's start getting streaming services. And then they started breaking apart, into different things. And now we're starting to bundle them. And I mean, if you look at your bill, a lot of people say, "Oh, I watch Netflix because it's cheaper,or I'm doing apps because I hate paying for cable." If you look at everything you bundled up to really get all the content, it's probably more than cable. Yeah,
it really does.
On top of that, you have to have good internet, strong enough to do it. So everything's gonna start, just like you said, Nick. Everything's gonna start bundling up, and I mean, we didn't even discuss things like Vimeo or YouTube. I mean, they're out there. I use Vimeo a lot to watch short films and to watch other people's content as well. I don't really trust YouTube for that.
No.
So I mean, there's that as well. There's just so much.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of these different streaming services. I mean, even like Google Play, Apple TV,
which is now coming out.
I know
too many.
PlayStation has theirs.
having content. I mean, my God, did you ever think MySpace was gonna make stuff? Facebook is. It's like Facebook is trying to get in there.
I never thought that I would ever see the day when I was like, oh yeah, did you guys buy that new Facebook item?
Exactly.
You know, what was it? Actually, funny story. That's actually the reason why the Oculuses were taking so long to like get shipped out, is because they didn't have a manufacturing like a way of manufacturing things and like shipping them out to people. So like they were kind of like, oh yeah, let's sell pre-orders, and they were like, wait, how are we sending these up?
How do we send it to their house? That's crazy.
So it was a huge thing, but I really do think that these are just going to be absorbed together. I mean, if you really want to go bang for your buck, I do recommend not paying for 3 separate ones. Go to Hulu. That way you can bundle up Showtime, Stars, and
or do it the college way. Share passwords.
Yeah, exactly.
Share passwords. I'll give you my Netflix. You give me your Hulu. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised they haven't done something to prevent that in different households. I mean, I'm not sure if they have a way of doing that. Hulu does. What?
Hulu does it where, like, let's say you log in on your phone.
Yeah.
If it's not connected to the registered Wi-Fi,
it won't let you.
Wow, it will automatically sign you out and say that you are not registered. You are not connected to the registered Wi-Fi. Please reconnect.
Wow, that's funny because I mean I get it through Spotify. I have the bundle of Spotify and Hulu, and I found out the other day like 7 people were connected to my Spotify. I was getting like Japanese music and Korean music and then hip hop that I don't listen to, and I logged on. It's like 7 people on my account. So I'm surprised they weren't on my Hulu. I guess that's why they weren't on my Hulu as well. Yeah.
No, yeah, because what was it? I gave it to my girlfriend, and she was using Hulu to watch it. And I think there's a time limit; like it needs to continuously keep logging into that Wi-Fi on the phone, or else it'll just automatically kick you out. Because I tried signing in at her house with my sign-in, and it immediately went, "Would you like to make this your home account? If not, please exit out."
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so Hulu.
Well, Netflix doesn't do that, so that's why maybe Netflix is the king of all streaming, the one we should go with.
I feel like Netflix is just like, listen, we know you guys are doing it. We're not going to stop.
We're not going to stop you. Are you still watching? Are you still sharing your passwords?
Yeah, I mean, Netflix, honestly, they don't care about viewership. They really don't. They just care about who's paying for it.
Yeah, exactly. Bottom
line. That's the bottom line. They really don't care.
Are you still sending your check?
Yeah, is the direct deposit still going through? Then we're there. Yeah. You can do whatever you want with our password.
There you go. Share it.
Yeah,
decent. It's funny. Like probably 27 people can be on our account or something, but I don't know if that many. But like you said, where are we going with this? Ultimately, with all the content that it's out there, there's just too much. We just mentioned in the span of, I don't know, 40, 50 minutes, about 3-4 different shows that all 3 of us haven't seen. You know, you're watching something, he's watching something. And in the old times when we used to have only like when everybody had cable or when we only had certain channels, people could have water cooler talk about certain show. I think nowadays the only show that a lot of people can actually talk about is something like Game of Thrones, something that's massively watched.
Yeah.
People can talk about it. The same thing. I watched it, you watched it, we can discuss it. Whereas now people are watching different things. We have so much that we can separate into it, and we go into niches and those kind of things, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, very much so. I mean, I would definitely recommend Hulu and get the live service so that way you can actually use it as a DVR. That's my recommendation. I feel like that's the best. If you're trying to aim for I'm only going to spend it on one, and that's it. And I can't buy the other ones or anything like that.
Yeah, I guess the takeaway is this: buy what you can afford with this.
Yeah. Buy what you can afford. Take advantage.
And what you like.
Just get Gene's password. She will share his password.
Yeah, I know. Take advantage of those 30-day trials. See how much you like it, and then if you really like it, that's when you make the purchase. Don't purchase just yet.
Or another account.
Yeah. So, I guess that kind of wraps up our topic. I mean, I'm sure we could talk about this for hours and hours.
Yes.
Yeah, it's such a crazy topic, but thank you, Marco, for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, no problem. It's good to finally have you on. Where can people find you at? What's your Twitter handle?
Okay, my Twitter handle is Infantible. It's for my Instagram and Twitter. So that is sorry, just making sure it's the same. So it is INFANTIBLE, Infantible.
Nice.
At Infantible, yeah.
Follow the link. It's already above. Yeah, you can find me at Nicholas Valero on Facebook and the Nick Valero on Twitter.
Find me G9892 on Twitter, Instagram, all the same. And please like, share, subscribe. Please ding that red bell because that's
Punch
how
the shit out of it.
yeah, that's how you get notifications that each episode will be out. We'll have some retrospectives coming out. Batman should be up soon on our YouTube channel and the iTunes. Thanks for listening. We've been professionally unprofessional.